Bindum, my Gavana Melanin. So in this video, let's discuss all about the root chakra and how it is a spinning wheel that is located at the pelvis or behind the pelvis bone of this subtle body. Remember, it's not the physical spine, it's the subtle spine, the immaterial spiritual body that you have. This part of your body is the sacral chakra, and it in this the Sanskrit word is the Swadhisthana. I hope I pronounced that right. And it is responsible for the creation and the reproductive part of the human soul. And this is really great information here, so I will read this about, because you can go online, you can find a lot of information on the different chakras. But I love this website, and I'm going to give the link to it because it gives a little bit more in-depth information and knowledge about it. So here it is about the sacral chakra. Once the ability to remember has been established, the natural consequence is reason, and from reason evolves the intellect. Reason is the manipulation of memorized information. We categorize it, we edit it, rearrange it, and store the results. People in the six-petaled chakra research, explore, and wonder, why? They propose theories and formulate rational explanations. They often form a rigid intellectual mind based upon opinionated knowledge and accumulated memory, reinforced by habit patterns of the instinctive mind. It is in this chakra that the majority of people live, think, worry, and travel on the astral plane. We open naturally into the chakra between ages 8 and 14. This center controls the Muladhara, as does each progressively higher chakra control those that lie below it. Some really valuable information there. So this is the area that is already starting to become awakened in the ages of 8 and 14. And so that is coming into the teenage age. And so this is when that reproductive part of you is starting to waken up. And that's correlation to the way that puberty works. Women and men kind of go through their puberty around that time, at least by 13 or 14, sometimes later. But the average is around that age. So that is your reproductive area, which is starting to awaken. And so the sacral chakra, I wrote down in my little Elven book here, the sacral chakra is the area that really helps to regulate the emotional part of you, the sexuality, sensuality, and the creative part of you. This is the area that is said that after the root chakra, and when you formed your roots to this earth, the sacral chakra is that area of you where the emotions started to become part of your living experience. Because first you had your grounding, you had your building of your shelter, you had your essential needs, and then you developed fight or flight within you. You learned how to take care of yourself in a physical way. And the root chakra is all about the ego and starting to bring forth that identity of the ego. The sacral chakra is when the emotions start to become expressed. And so this area is associated with the element of water, which is the element of emotions. Anybody who's a water sign know that the water signs are emotional signs, and they are stimulated with emotion. And they are most in touch with their emotions. So this area is what controls that emotional part of you. So one of the downsides about this area, and it kind of touched on it within that little paragraph that I read, if someone is stuck in the sacral chakra, if they are stuck in those lower dimensions, and they stay there for their whole life, they may be someone that is actually ruled by their emotions and ruled by their sexual desires. I think it's pretty safe to say that those that have this insatiable lust within them, they are solely living from that sacral chakra. And they're not engaging those higher dimensions and chakras within them. But this is where it can cause a little bit of temptation to human souls, and it can cause you to feel more unstable emotionally. And if you are ruled by this area and you don't engage those higher chakras, this can cause problems within your life. And so it's very important to have that area spinning and not blocked. When it's blocked, you may not be able to experience that area. So you may have a harder time being intimate with somebody, and even just wanting to be close sexually to someone. This area needs to be spinning in order to allow that intimacy and to allow that sexual feelings and sensuality within you to come alive. And that's what that spinning area is about. And when those wheels start to turn, that is when it starts that creative part of you. So part of the emotional side of you is the creative side of you. And so, your emotions are connected to that creative aspect of who you are. So as you learn what it is that you are feeling as a human being, you also learn ways of how to create what you don't want to feel or what you do want to feel. And it is symbolized by 6 petals. And on each of the 6 petals, we'll read a different type of virtue of energy within on each of those petals. And you have to learn how to balance that energy so that it doesn't overtake your life, like we were talking about with the whole thing about lust. If you have not noticed the correlations, they do correlate to the 7 sins that are taught within Christianity. So you have the 7 chakra centers, you have these potential energy centers within every soul. And if they are blocked, or if they are overused and not balanced with the other chakras, that can cause problems within the life. And so the sins are actually correlated. So for the sacral chakra, the sin of lust is actually part of the sacral chakra. That's really why Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, was because these were beings that were stuck in these lower dimensions of consciousness. They were stuck in the root chakra. They fought each other. They killed each other. It was fight or flight. It was dominance and ego. And then the sacral chakra was lust. These beings, these early human beings, wanted to have sex with angels. And so they had no regard for life. And that's really why Sodom and Gomorrah was actually destroyed. It's not really about homosexuality. It is about lust and staying in those lower states of consciousness, which cause the issues in your life. I mean, anybody knows that who is overtaken and driven by lust, it can cause problems, and they might not even recognize it, but others do recognize it around them. And this is the goal, is to be more balanced in all areas of your life. So the sacral chakra, you can really try to open up and balance that energy by focusing on the color orange, and by doing the seed mantra VAM, V-A-M, VAM, and visualizing this orange glowing light by the spine, the subtle body spine, where the reproductive organs are, where the pelvis bone resides. And when you do, the sexual desire, the sensual nature inside of you, the emotional side of you is going to be awakened. And you just need to learn how to balance that. And that's why the ages 8 through 14 are kind of turmoil times emotionally. That's when the preteens are starting to develop their teenage angst. And so their emotions are very complex, and their sexuality is starting to awaken within them. And one of the ways as an elf that you can feel connected to this area is by knowing that because this area is connected to the element of water, and it's about the flow of that sensual energy that helps to create and bring new life forward, and also just bring projects and ideas forward. I mean, being creative is not necessarily always about producing life. It is about producing new ideas and new projects and new things that can come into being in your reality. So when you're an elf type, what you can visualize is after the roots are grounded within the earth and you feel connected to the trees, then you can start to feel connected to the warm, moist earth around you. And because earth needs water, it needs cultivation of water to bring forth life, then that is a way that you can start to understand the way that your nurturing side of you will start to awaken within. And Mother Earth, the earth is nurturing and holds the plant life, and the fertile ground is really what produces life. So the dirt and everything part of the earth in terms of the top layer, and the roots go deep, but the top layer of the soil is moist and it's fertile for life. When you start to feel connected in that way, you can walk through the dirt, you can feel the grass under your feet, and this will give you a way of connecting to earth and feeling that sensual, fertile type of energy within you start to rise and start to awaken. Another way that I visualize this area when I need it to be awakened or to be rebalanced is by visualizing the idea of the birds and the bees. Animals naturally reproduce. So sometimes human souls or non-human souls, sometimes they can become blocked in that way. And in that intimate area, it can happen by trauma, it can happen by people taking advantage of you, and you feel that that area was the main attraction to you, so you close it off so that others don't take advantage of you. There's so many different ways that that area can become blocked. It can become blocked from abuse, molestation. It can be blocked by just body conscious self-images where you don't like the way your physical body looks, so you kind of block off that area and you don't want to be intimate with others. There's so many different ways that that area can be blocked, and then that can block other chakras. So when you are an elf, it's important for you to learn how to love that sensual side of yourself, to feel that you are connected to fertile Mother Earth, to the ground that is underneath you and is warm and moist and is ready for the seeds to be planted. And also, when you look at the birds and the bees, you will see that animals do it naturally and they reproduce, so therefore you too can also be someone that can join the animals in that reproductive nature and see that it's natural. Reproduction is not always about bringing forth life. It is also about being creative and being in touch with your emotions. So when you balance that area, it's going to bring you a lot of joy and wonderful emotions that you really are on earth in order to experience. I mean, this is the beautiful gift, is to experience those emotions. But if you are ruled by your emotions, if you are ruled by emotions of anger, hate, fear, this is that area where they start to become awakened in someone. And you start to realize what it is because you're starting to become a reasoning being. And the second chakra is where you start to question why you have these feelings. What are you dealing with right now? So it's always important to just be in touch with that emotional area within you. And if you can, try to focus on awakening that area and getting those wheels spinning within you in order to start to rise that Kundalini energy so that you can eventually reach enlightenment and merge consciousness with the infinite creator. And that is really the goal, and that's what's really going to give you the blissful states of heaven that each soul is looking for, and what the divine texts try to bring people towards and guide people towards, so that they can find relief from the suffering of the world. So when you start to balance that sacral chakra area, a lot of things are going to happen for you. You're going to feel more in touch with your sensual side of yourself. So feel okay with exploring your own body and making sure that you are giving your body to those that really truly appreciate you, because it's called the sacral chakra for a reason. It is a sacred area that nobody should really be in touch with unless you give them permission. And that is really the sin of rape and molestation, is that it is completely disregarding the needs and the wants of the individual. So that is the sacral chakra. So when you balance that area within you and you learn how to get that area spinning of energy so that that Kundalini energy can start to rise within your subtle spine, this is the area that is going to start to awaken the other chakras, because everything is all connected. Just as your spine is all connected to each of the vertebrae, this and the discs, this is the area in which also, just like the root chakra, needs to be awakened. These are very essential needs of human beings that are on earth. And when you are having this area blocked, it's going to be harder for you to achieve the higher consciousness levels that you truly want. You will be able to intellectualize those higher consciousness levels, but you won't be able to feel the blissful states of happiness that those higher consciousness levels will give you once you align and balance the lower chakras. And I just want to say that my observance of the world is that part of the issue that we have is that, as the paragraph said very wisely, is that most people are really stuck in these lower consciousness and these lower chakras, and they don't push themselves out of this lifetime to enter into the higher states. That's why they feel fearful, or they are racist, or they hate others, or they feel angry, or they have intimacy issues, or they have insecurity issues, because they're focusing on just the physical world. And when you focus just on the physical world, then you are going to have a lot of these imbalances. So part of the beauty of raising your eyes to the higher states of consciousness and looking beyond the material world is that it really gets that energy motivated to reach out for more. And it balances the emotions within you so that you're not so stuck within those emotional states. And you're not just reacting emotionally, but you actually become a logical, thinking, wise being, which is really the goal, and how you can move forwards out of the cycle of suffering and pain and move into the states of bliss and peace, which is the ultimate goal for every soul. So Hananle for watching, and please go to the link below in the description so that I can take you on a guided meditation in order to help awaken this area within you if you do have blockages there.